Okay folks, in a previous post I told you that I wanted to change out the roof of this flow hive, and the reason for that is because this shingle system looks aesthetically pleasing. However, I am noticing there's a little bit of leakage when I open that up, and it's not causing a huge issue, but I can tell that there's some water damage inside on the bottom side of the roof, and that's getting on my top board. And that doesn't cause a whole lot of trouble. However, I'm going to switch out the roof because I want to switch out to this top screen board. And the reason for that is because it's super hot. It's only the end of May. You know it's only going to get hotter here in the state of Missouri, Southwest Missouri, in June, July, August. And they're already bearding, which means that it's too hot in the hive box, and so a lot of the bees are actually on the outside of the box because they're trying to get some fresh air. Well, that's a natural process for them to do, and they're probably going to do it no matter what type of ventilation that you add. However, I want to give them as much help as possible, and the reason for that is because if they're spending less time being so hot and more time inside the box actually working on what they're supposed to be working on, that means more honey when it comes to harvesting time. And so as a beekeeper, that's really your job, is you're creating an environment in which the bees can work most effectively so that you get the most produce out of their hard work. And so one of the things I'm going to do, and Flow Hive does not offer this in the kit, at least not the one that I purchased. So if you're thinking about getting into beekeeping, this is something to keep in mind. I highly encourage you to go back and watch the previous post about the pros and cons of flow hives versus just traditional beekeeping, traditional harvesting of honey, that is. One of the things is purchasing, especially if you're in a hot climate or more hot than others. This may not be an issue for beekeepers up north or in colder climates. Is this right here. This top ventilation screen board goes on the top of, if you have a super on, it'd go on top of your super, or if you just have brood boxes on, it'd go on that top box, and then you'd put your roof on top of that. Now the reason why I like this is because there's a small little groove here. It allows the bees to get in and out, and so with the flow hive, you kind of have to shoo bees away and then put your roof on, because otherwise the bees get trapped between your top board and the roof, okay? Especially if you don't have that little cork pulled out. But with this, you can put that on. You really don't have to spend a whole lot of time trying to get bees away from it. You can put your roof on and bees can still get in and out of this, which is very nice. Another thing too is that groove in this board allows wind to come up underneath that roof and go in and down through this screen ventilation board into your hive box, especially in those hot months. Excuse me. Now I'll probably pull this off and put the other one back on in the winter time, but in the summer months this is going to be very handy. So just a pro tip there. Let's switch these out and see what that process looks like. I'm going to take the roof off here, and as you can tell, this is kind of what I'm talking about some of that. You can tell some of that water's been getting in there, but especially on the top of this hive board, or this top board here, you can really tell how water has started to get on top of this right there. So that's one of the reasons why I'm switching out the roof. I could use this same roof with that top ventilation screen, but just to be safe with wax moths and mold, you imagine this water damage getting in there, so it creates a damp environment. It's dark in there because it's got full coverage, so it's damp, it's dark, and then you've opened up the possibility for mold to create a problem in your hive box. So I want to try to stay on top of that and switch it out. Another thing that I like about the top screen board is when you open up that roof, you can kind of look down in your hive, and you're not met with a huge presence of bees. You can look down in there, but when I take this top board off, I'm going to be met with all of my bees, which is really not a big problem for me. I'm not intimidated by that, but especially if you just kind of want to do a, you know, just a small inspection. Maybe you don't want to get into your hive box. You just kind of want to open up your roof and look down in there and see the bees, see how they're doing, see how they're performing. You can put that roof right back on without really having to do it in, you know, intruding on your bees too much. One of the reasons why I don't inspect my bees very often, and by very often I mean I get in there every other week, once a week during the nectar flow, because I just kind of want to see how things are going, see how they're performing. But especially in those times where it's just kind of dry and things like that, and I don't want to bother them too much, I may just pick up that roof from now on, look down on that screen, make sure they're okay, and if everything looks fine, I'll just put that roof back on and go to my next hive. I don't have that option with this. I can't see through this top board. So that's another cool perk about this top ventilation screen board here that I'm going to be installing. So this is the board here, and you can tell there's a little bit of area here where there's a little bit of water residue. I don't have any mold yet because I've kept a close eye on it. But literally all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this top screen board here, and that'll fit right on top here. And that's what I'm gonna use instead of the other one. So now, when I look down in there, I've got a screen where I can kind of see that. When I open up that roof, I'm not met with so many bees at once. So it's going to be great. It's going to provide extra ventilation for the bees, hopefully reduce bearding, and let them be more productive inside the hive box instead of them just staying outside trying to stay cool because it's too hot inside of those boxes. The last step that I have is I'm switching out this flow hive roof for just a traditional roof. This has reflective metal on the top, which will reflect the sun and help keep these boxes cool in the summer months. And of course, I've explained the top screen board for increased ventilation. And so all I've got to do here is place that roof right on top, and that's it. It'll give the bees a much better chance at staying cool in these hot months.